Hi students, welcome to our chemistry class. Our chapter name is physical change and chemical change. That is our chapter. And today we are going to start this chapter. And first of all we are going to discuss about the changes. Changes. In our surroundings we can see number of changes are there. Different types of changes we can see in our day-to-day life. Now my question is, what are these changes? Some of the examples we are going to look. The first is, here in my hand I have one rubber band here. And when I stretch this, you can see that the length is getting changed. So here for the rubber band there occurs one change. So for the rubber band, it has some change occurs when I give some force actually. So we can say we are not focusing on the force. This rubber band is causing some sort of stretching or change is there occurs with the shape, that when I am giving force like this, the shape is getting changed. So we can say for this rubber band there occurs some change. And the other example here you can see this is one sponge piece, and when I give force or I am giving pressure, but you can see the shape is getting changed. That means at the initial stage it is having a proper shape, and when I am giving pressure its shape is getting changed. So sponge, this is another object, and the next object is this is one chalk piece. And when I give force on this, what happens? Or when I just take this and hit with this duster, what happens? You can see that this chalk is turned into chalk powder. So the change occurs on chalk. That is, this chalk turned into chalk powder when we are just hitting this chalk piece with certain hard substance. That is the next example. And the next one is the conversion of milk to curd. The conversion of milk to curd. That is what one type of change. A particular type of change. That is what the next example. And the another example is this. When we are taking a beaker and add some sugar. Some sugar just taking and then add some water to this and stir this well. And then you can see that the sugar is then dissolved in water and then it is called sugar solution. Sugar solution. So here also the sugar got some changes. That means at the initial stage the sugar is in the solid state, and now that is got dissolved in water and now it is in the form of sugar solution. So that sugar also caused some changes. So these are some of the examples that occurs change, and here we are not mentioning what type of changes the occurs, and these are some of the changes. And now I am giving you one work. You just want to pause the video and write 10 changes that you can see in your day-to-day life. Any type of changes that you can write, and you want to write what is the change. That means don't write the rubber band only. You want to write when we apply force the rubber band is getting stretched. That is one type of change. So in the similar way for the sponge, when we are giving force on the sponge its shape is getting changed. Likewise you want to write 10 examples in your notebook itself. That means you just want to write the heading of the chapter physical and chemical changes. Then write the heading changes and write these 10 examples one by one. So just pause the video and complete your work. Hope you completed your work. Now I am going to do that. Actually, you wrote many examples, and these all examples of changes are of different types. There are different types of changes, and now we are only focusing on two types of changes, that is physical change and chemical change. Physical change and chemical change. So, we want to study in detail what is this physical change, which are the examples and how we can define this, and what is the chemical change, what are the examples, all the things we are going to study in detail. First of all, our topic is this physical change. In your textbook, you can see number of activities are there. First activity, everything is related to the physical change. Physical change. And we are now going to discuss the first activity. First activity is related to paper. That is, I am taking one paper and just folding this. and cutting it into two pieces. So now you can see two pieces are there. Now I am just leaving this one of the pieces and focusing on this, and again I am folding this. Folding this and again cutting this into half piece. Again we have two equal pieces are there. I am leaving this one of the piece and focusing on the small one. And again I am folding this half. Again cutting this. Again we get two pieces. Dropping this again and focusing on this small piece and again cutting this into small piece. Again we are making this paper into small. So here our paper piece is getting small and small. I can also make it small and small. Now I am stopping it here. What was our initial paper? Our initial paper was a big one with the same yellow color and all. And here it is very small piece but the same piece of this paper. And now my question is, do both of them have same property? Yes, both of them have same properties. But what is the only difference now? Only difference is with the size. So this is your first activity, that we just took one paper piece and we just lifted this into small pieces. And here the thing is this small piece of paper and also the big piece of paper is actually the same thing, but the only difference is with the shape, or we can say the only difference is with the size. Change with size, but their properties have no variation. That means when we are checking the properties of this small piece of paper and when we are checking the properties of this big paper, both are same. Here this is having more area is there, but this is very small. That is the only difference. So this is actually one of the example of physical change. We will explain. So consider this is one of the example for physical change. Here we can only see the change in the size, or we can say the shape. So that is the first example, and we can say no change in properties. No change in the properties. That is the thing. Now we are going to discuss the second activity, and that is the activity is this: just collect some chalk powder in a beaker. That means when we are rubbing this, we get number of chalk powder is deposited at the floor. So we are collecting some of the chalk powder within a beaker and adding some water to this. Adding some water, we are not talking that we are taking too much water and making it into a solution, not like that. We are just taking some drops of water and making this into a paste. At initial stage, what is our chalk powder? And when we are adding some water and making it into a paste, and then doing that, we are just rolling this paste. We are just rolling this and just put it somewhere, and after some time, what is the form of our chalk now? It is in the form of some cylindrical form. That means our chalk powder is turned into chalk itself. That means the powdered form will turn into chalk. Here also, have any property variation occurs with the chalk powder and the chalk? Not at all having any type of property variation, no change in the properties. But what is here the change occurs? Here the change occurs with the shape. Change occurs with shape. And no change in the properties. No change in properties. Here actually we are mentioning about the properties means the chemical properties. We will focus it later. Now you just understand that no changes there occurs with the properties means the chemical properties. This is the second example. So now we are going to discuss the third activity. The third activity is this: we are just taking one beaker and collecting some ice cubes. We are just collecting some ice cubes and put under the sun. After some time, what you can see the ice cubes started melting and they produce water. You can see some water is there produced by melting the ice cubes. So, at first it was ice and now it is water. And again when I just keep this beaker into refrigerator, what happens? Again the water turns into ice. So, here you can see what change occurs there. Here one sort of change is occurs. And what type of change is here? The change occurs with the state of matter. You studied the state of matter from the 5th standard and all. So what is the state of matter? We know there is having solid is there, liquid is there and gas is there. So here the change occurs, this ice is solid and water is what? Liquid. So solid is getting converted to liquid. So we can say there occurs change in the state of matter. So there is having no chemical change variation or chemical properties having no variation. Both of the ice and the water having same properties, chemical properties. So we can say this is also one physical change, and this is the example. Here the change occurs with the state of matter. We just want to focus that. Change occurs with the state of matter. In the same area, we have another activity with regard to the state of matter with respect to the water itself. But here, within the beaker, we are just taking some water. We are collecting some water and heat this. When when we heat this, what happens? It starts boiling. After some time it starts boiling, and then you can see steam forms. That is, first of all it is in the form of water, and then after some time, after getting heat, the water, the state of liquid is getting changed to gaseous form. That is the steam. It turns to gas. So here also you can see what? You can see the same change of state, or state of matter is changed. State of matter is getting changed, or we can say the state is getting changed from water to steam. And also you can see one thing, when I just keep one lid here, what you can see? You can see that at the bottom of this plate, number of water droplets are getting there. That means the steam is then again converted to what? Water. Steam to water. So we can say here also what occurs? The state of matter is getting changed from one to another. This is also one physical change. Now the fifth activity that is mentioned in your textbook we are going to discuss. That is also very simple. We are just taking one hacksaw blade. We are just taking one hacksaw blade and then hold this near one burner. That means our aim is to heat this. So we are just holding this with the pair of thumbs. Pair of thumbs means just something that we are going to hold this. Something seems like scissors and all. The name is this pair of thumbs. That is the thing you can see in your textbook. That is nothing but something we are using to hold this like the plucker and all. So this is our hacksaw blade. Hacksaw blade. And we are just holding this near the fire. And after some time, what you can see? You can see that the tip is here getting color change. Color change occurs. Now after some time I am just offing this. That means having no fire there. And after some time you can see that the previous color will come. That means at the initial stage it is having a particular color, and when we are giving fire it turns to a particular color, and when the fire is stopped then it will go back to the previous color. Here also within the time there occurs color change, but no, chemical properties are not at all changed there. At the initial stage and the final stage, and somehow there occurs some color change and all, but still it just go back to the previous stage. This is also one physical change example. Here also we have the change occurs with the color, but no change occurs with the chemical properties. Now we are going to discuss what is this. I am always saying that here having no chemical change, but there occurs the physical change. There occurs the physical change like that. So now we are going to study what it is. These are all about the activities. In the first example, you observed that there occurs the change in size or shape. With the example of the paper and the chalk powder and all, you observe the change in size or shape. And in the second example, we observed the change of state. That means the solid is getting converted to liquid, liquid to gas, gas to liquid. Likewise, the state is getting converted. So you can see the change in the state of matter. Then another example, you observe that they have the change with the color. So these all are some type of properties, and we said that within the physical change there is having no change is there with the properties. So what is this? I said that this size or shape is a particular type of property, and this state of matter is also a particular type of property, and this color is also a particular type of property. And now the question is, what is this, or what is this type of the property? This is nothing but the physical properties. Physical properties is something that we can observe and find out. So that is the physical properties. The size, shape, state of matter, color, all the things are related to physical properties, and this is not the chemical properties. There is another type of property, and that is called chemical property. And these all are not the example of chemical property, but the example of physical property. Here I just mentioned this to understand that there is having another property also. And in this physical change, I already mentioned that for all the activities we have no property change is there. Actually, what is that? It is regarding of the chemical properties. For the physical change, there is having no chemical property variation, but have the variation with the physical property. And now we are going to study, or we are going to define what is this physical property and what is the definition for physical change. Physical properties are very simple. The properties, like the same thing is that the properties like shape, size, color, state of substance are called physical properties. That is, the shape, size, color, state of substance, all the things are what? The physical properties. That is the first thing. And now we are going to study what is this physical change. The definition of physical change is this: a change in which a substance undergo change in its physical properties, and no variation in chemical properties, called physical change. So this is the definition. That means this physical change is a type of change in which a substance undergoes change in its physical properties. That means it is having variation with the physical properties. What are the physical properties? Maybe I am not saying that all the things have to be take place in a particular case. Any one of them will take place. Maybe with the shape, size, color, state of substance, any will have a change, and there occurs no chemical properties have to be changed, is called what? Physical change. And we mentioned here are all the examples for the physical change. That means we explained as the activities. And the next point is this. This is reversible process. This physical change is what? Reversible process. Reversible process. Actually, we are saying that in some cases it is reversible. For example, we are talking about the ice cubes now. When we are giving heat, that will convert to water, and when we are cooling this, what happens? It will go back to the ice cubes. So that's why we are saying that it is reversible. That means simply it means that it is having the same chemical properties with both the ice cubes and water. So we can say this physical change is reversible. And the next point is this: no new substance substance formed. No new substance formed in the physical change. No new substance formed means when the ice cubes are getting heat, it will turn into water. These ice cubes and water are actually the same thing. And when we are talking about the chalk powder, we are just making it into the chalk piece. What happens? There the shape change and the both of the things are same. No new substances are formed there. So this is what the physical change. The next case is this. We are talking about the iron nail. Iron nail. That is, I am just taking one new iron nail and just keeping it at the open atmosphere. After some days, what you can see? There occurs one change. That means you can see at initial stage it is very shining and or after some days you can see one brownish coating is the case. And what is that? That is actually the rust. Rust formation, and the process of getting rust is what? Rusting. You have to study this in detail in our coming area in this chapter. And now my question is, do this rust. We said that this iron nail is converted to rust. Iron is converted to rust. Actually, this is a type of change. A particular type of change, and we are not calling it as a particular name. Now my question is, do this is physical change? When it is physical change, this iron and rust have to be same. And do they are same? We will check it in the next class. And you just want to think, do this iron and the rust are the same? Do their color is same, or do they have the same properties? Are the all the things you can just observe or just search. So we will discuss this topic in the next class, and we will continue with the chemical changes and all. It's enough for today. You want to read your textbook 3-4 times, and we will meet in the next class.